Alright, so today Blizzard announced, if none of you guys are, familiar with this, Blizzard announced that they are redoing the necklace and Azerite. So now we're going to get our neck piece is going to get additional things as we level it up. I believe we're still going to be leveling up in the same way that we were before, but this time we will get specific things to it at 55 and 65, and we will start with having the major slot, which is going to be in the center of the necklace. So they released essences for different specs. The class that was currently looking at the essences was a prot paladin. So there were abilities that were specific to prot paladin, which leads me to believe that there will be abilities that are specific to druids, and perhaps specializations, so ferals and boomkins and restos and guardians. So there's the three different types of abilities, and these are just general, no specific class or anything like that. They've got tanking, they've got healing, and they've got DPS, right, damage. Tanking actually had a lot of options, and there were some cool ones in there. Nothing that I found like amazing or anything, but obviously we'll kind of get more information on that as we go. Excuse me, I've had this really bad cough for like the past week, so anyways, hopefully I can get rid of that. But we're gonna go ahead and just take a look at some of the damaging traits. There was one that is really good, I think, for Feral, and then we're gonna kind of look and scope out the other ones and see what we think about those. So anyways, the first one we'll go over is Focusing Iris. Oops, didn't mean to click there, meant to click here and highlight it. So that's gonna be this one that we're looking at here, and it says Quality Epic. Something to note is these essences are going to have all different kinds of quality that you can farm. I assume they didn't give a whole lot of information. I assume that you can get more valuable essences from higher content. So I imagine you'd get like a good quality essence from a regular dungeon, and then a rare quality essence from JS0131, thank you for the follow. You can get a blue or a rare essence from like a heroic dungeon, and then epic from mythic dungeons. And then there is a possibility, they announced, that you can get a legendary essence. Something else to note with the legendary essences is you're going to be able to, when you use it, there's two parts to the essences. There's the on use, and then there's a passive portion. If you use it as your major power, there's on use. If you use it as a minor power, you're going to get the passive portion. If you have a legendary essence, okay, and you have it as your major power, whenever you use that ability or essence, you're going to get a new look, a new cosmetic look to your character. So, and the way they talked about it seemed like these looks are pretty cool. We don't know what they look like until they get released on PTR, obviously, but sound kind of neat. We'll see how that goes. So anyways, back to the essence itself. So this one is a 1.5 second 1.2 second cast with a 1.5 minute cooldown. And it says you focus Azerite energy into the heart of Azeroth, then expel that energy outwards, dealing certain amount of damage. Here it says 126k damage, fire damage to all enemies in front of you over 2.5 seconds. So I guess it's like a cast time frontal cleave, which would be interesting. And it says it can be used while moving. So kind of like a castable dragon's breath, I guess. I don't know. That's a lot of damage. And if it's doing that all to every enemy in front of you, that's even more damage. It's not getting split between. I don't know if that verbiage is just not complete or what. But we'll have to see what the numbers are on that. And then the minor power, remember the minor power is going to be the passive. It's not going to be your on use ability. So this one's going, it says it stacks your haste. Crits stack your haste. Every 2 seconds, Heart of Azeroth absorbs latent Azerite energy, increasing your haste by 29, stacking up to 10 times. And then while at 10 stacks of Focusing Iris, your Heart of Azeroth has a chance to blast your target with a bolt of Azerite energy, dealing 5,600 fire damage. Okay, so this could be useful for any haste class. Ferals are pretty decent with haste. It's not one of our best. In fact, it's one of our worst. But once you've gotten your 30% crit and your 50-some% mastery, haste is not bad. It increases your bleed tick time and it increases your energy regen. So, anyways, this could be interesting. This ability particularly could help a lot in Keystone dungeons. But like I said, this isn't class specific, so it wouldn't only help Ferals in Keystone dungeons, it would help every class. Next up is we got the Blood of the Enemy. So this one is an instant cast and it's a 1.5 minute cooldown. It erupts violently, dealing 38k damage to enemies within 12 yards. This is the part that's really good for Feral. You gain 25% crit chance against the targets that you hit with this for 15 seconds, increasing your critical damage by 35% for 15 seconds as well. That's a lot of damage. First of all, this gives us 25% of our most valuable stat, okay? Secondly, I mean, our crit damage is through the roof. If you time this with your Jungle Fury, okay, you're probably going to have 100% crit, which means your damage is basically increased by 35% against the targets that are damaged by this for 15 whole seconds. That's a lot of damage. So anyways, this is what I think is going to be very good for Ferals, and I think is going to be the recommended essence for Ferals. We'll see how you have to farm it, like what drops it or whatnot. And then the minor power is also really good for Ferals. So critical strikes grant you a stack of Blood of the Enemy. Stacks of Blood of the Enemy grant 29 crit strike. And then if you reach 25 stacks, you gain 1000 haste for 12 seconds. It's kind of like icing on the cake. It's just good, 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 and then boom, really good. And then, I imagine it just dwindles back down to 0 after the 12 seconds. Sorry, excuse me with that cough. And then it has a 25% chance of only consuming 15 stacks rather than the 25 stacks. So I guess 1/4 of the time, you're still going to have your 10 stacks of the 29 crit strike, and then you're going to get your 1000 haste, right? So that's how I interpret that. So 25% of the chance it could be really good, because then you get bonus haste and crit. Alright, and then you got Purification Protocol, which is an instant cast 1 minute cooldown. Calls down a Purifying Blast. This is like in Old Ear when you're fighting Gahoon, right? It's the beam that comes down and like stuns him and stuff. So that's what this is. I imagine it's going to look somewhat similar to that too. So it deals a certain amount of fire damage to all enemies within 8 yards every 1 second for 6 seconds. So with this, it's like 60k per enemy. So that's like 11k DPS right there. Per enemy, right? So you get 11k DPS per enemy. And then Purifying Blast has a chance to immediately kill any specimen deemed unworthy by Mother. Wow. Okay. So I guess against like the Bloodswarmers and things like that, and the corrupted stuff, you just immediately kill them sometimes. That's kind of cool. And then any aberration struck by the Purifying Blast is stunned for 8 seconds. That's cool too. So it's kind of unique, right? They kind of added some unique effects in there. It's kind of like back in the day when you could get like weapons that dealt extra damage, like demons, or extra damage on deads, things like that. So that's kind of neat. I like that. It gives a little bit of flavor to the ability. If an enemy dies while inside your Purifying Blast, your damage is increased by 10% for 8 seconds. That's pretty good too. If we compare it to this though, this is essentially a 35% damage increase and guaranteed crits for 15 seconds. So while this is neat, I don't know if it really compares to that for Feral. Mother has added a purification protocol to your Heart of Azeroth, allowing your damaging spells and abilities to release a blast of Azerite energy at your target, dealing 35k damage to any enemy within 8 yards, and heals you for 2k every 2 seconds for 8 seconds. And it deals 100% extra damage to aberrations. So once again, kind of cool. I don't know if I would take that over the previous one though, but I like how they add flavor to it, like with the aberrations and the corrupted and everything like that. Condensed life force. Sounds like a healer one, not a DPS one. Instant cast, 5-minute cooldown. Ooh, this has got to be pretty good. Call upon Azeroth to summon a Guardian of Azeroth to aid you in combat for 30 seconds. That's neat. I like having pets and things like that. So that's cool. Your spells and then on the minor side, the passive, your spells and abilities have a chance to impale your target with a spike of Azerite, causing 14k damage. And then source. Oh, this one has a source. Defeat Ashara in the Eternal Palace on normal difficulty. And this one's uncommon. So yeah, I assume the uncommon one you get from normal difficulty, and then you can get the legendary one from like mythic, right? Or something like that. So that's kind of cool. Which means this probably does more damage if you get an epic as opposed to an uncommon. Unbound Force, instant cast, 1-minute cooldown, major power, unleash the forces within the Heart of Azeroth, causing a shard of Azerite to strike your target for 5,500 fire damage every 1 second for 10 seconds. This damage is increased by 300% if it critically strikes. Huh, okay. So that could be decent for ferals as well. It's basically a big dot, and since we have such high crit, you know, if we time this with a Jungle Fury, then the likelihood of this hitting for 300% damage is pretty crazy. Each time and then the minor power is, each time you critically strike, you gain a stack of Reckless Force up to 5 stacks. Every 10 seconds, your next spell or ability will barrage the target with 1 bolt of Azerite energy per stack, dealing 550 damage each. That's kind of fun. I imagine that looks cool. Oh, and then this one, you can actually purchase it with Honored Reputation. So, interesting. Maybe this one won't be upgradable. I don't know. So anyways, these are kind of neat. I definitely like the direction that Blizzard is taking the Azerite. Then again, there's not many directions they could have possibly taken this and it not been an upgrade from the current system. So maybe it's kind of an easy cop out. I think that the way they develop these and the way that they kind of become farmable and things like that could be you know, interesting. So anyways, that's the essences. I think it's gonna be kind of fun. We'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna be looking mostly at Blood of the Enemy, but Unbound Force could be pretty strong, as well as Condensed Life Force. So we'll have to just kind of wait and see what happens. I might be doing some PTR testing with this, and if I do, I'll definitely put a YouTube video out for that as well. So anyways, thank you guys for watching.